You know what's a great comedy, Mark, is the Chicago Bears performance, especially from Caleb Williams in the last three quarters of yesterday's game on Monday night against the Minnesota Vikings. It was fun seeing Ben Johnson get angrier and angrier as the game went on, and Caleb Williams just couldn't get the job done. And it was really, really funny watching J.J. McCarthy. In the last four quarters of the game, in the fourth quarter of the game, he was 8 for 11, 95 yards, 2 touchdowns, a pass, 0 INTs, and a 14-yard rushing touchdown. He recovered from that pick six nicely. He looked really good. He shut all the haters up. Minnesota, I know we got to crush the guy 2 times this year, but honestly, as a Michigan fan myself, it's good to see him prove the doubters wrong.
Leave the gun. Take the cannoli.
So, Mark, what did you think of
You brought up a good point. Well, first of all, that's the only game that mattered, Tom, was the Chicago Bears and Minnesota game. That really was. Because to me, that was going to dictate the attitude I had or did not have on this episode. So I jumped on real quick and did a little post-game live, which actually seemed to be pretty popular amongst Packers fans. Talking shit, thanks. But,
of course.
I said, listen, this looks like a preseason game to me. I don't know what happened. They waited until the very end to start playing like 40%, or not even that, 30% of their playbook and what they're capable of.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like they weren't in it, right? So I'm like, okay, well, I already know where this is going to go. Everybody on TikTok, everybody on the shorts is going to talk shit and say, you're missing Ben Johnson, that's why. He's the missing piece of the puzzle. Him and Aaron Glenn are the missing piece, right?
I saw a lot of that. I saw like pictures. They had a picture of Dan Orlovsky and picture like Joey Harrington saying, this is Jared Goff without Ben Johnson. I'm just like, hold on. Let's give it a minute. I was a little bit nervous, when, Caleb Williams on that, he had a 10-play, 61-yard drive to open the game. On 3rd and 2, he lost to the 17-yard strike to Romo Dunze, then capped the drive with a 9-yard scramble into the end zone. The Bears led 7-0 on a really long drive, an 8-minute drive to start the game. But I was thinking to myself, oh man, he's unlocked Caleb Williams. They're going to dominate the Vikings. This is a big indictment on, Lions. I was nervous for a little while. I'm thinking, oh man, Ben Johnson really was the key to the Lions. And I'm not saying the guy's a bad coordinator. It's one game as a head coach. I'm not, I don't want to make any. They wanted to fire him after that 1-6 start a couple of years ago. I know how it goes. Ben Johnson, damn good coordinator. As a head coach, obviously, just a teeny tiny sample size. But
yeah, it's one game, and I'll tell you what, the Vikings' entire staff has seen that offense before. This wasn't a new offense to them. This is the Ben Johnson offense from Detroit.
Yeah.
Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery were quoted saying like, hey, you're literally, we know what play sheets are. He's just doing what he did last year, right? So, and again, I don't want to take anything away from this guy. He's a very smart guy, and he was awesome here.
Yes.
Yeah, pump the freaking brakes, dude. Stefanski knew how to shut down the Ben Johnson offense, and he took care of that. He let him run his one scripted outing where they start out hot and they keep the ball right in front of the receiver, right in front of the line of scrimmage, right, and drop it off. But when it comes to those explosive home run plays and all those, what made those trick plays work were the Lions players. That's what made all that work, right? So you flip the reverse of that and you say, okay, Aaron Glenn lost, Dan Campbell lost, and Ben Johnson lost this whole week, right? So it was a bad week one for our staff last year, right? And then people want to get down and talk some shit about the offensive line. Hank Fraley's still the coach of this offensive line, guys.
Yeah.
We did lose Frank Ragnow to retirement, but Taylor Decker's still there. Penny's still there. Glasgow was there last year, and he played center, and he played right guard. He played all over, right? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Mahogany played last year, too. So this is just a situation where chill out. I'm going to enjoy the fact now that we got a Ben Johnson coming into Detroit, coming home, not his home anymore, but he's coming to our home.
Yeah.
And Dan Campbell says, that offense you're running, boy, I taught you how to run that offense.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
right? And you're going to see who Big Daddy is, right? That's who this is.
I think so. I mean, it's pretty apparent, when Ben Johnson doesn't have the tools that Detroit gave him, he's really going to struggle. Caleb Williams, the kid's showing flashes. I can't clown on him too much. I mean, yeah, the painted nails, all this fancy bullshit, but at the same time, he's still a competent quarterback. He still has the tools.
Absolutely.
Well, they actually, does he have the offensive line in front of him? Does he have the weapons to propel him forward? It's looking, they're showing some flashes. He's got Rome Odunze out there, and I tell you what, DeAndre Swift, where the hell was this guy when he was in Detroit, man? He was making some big plays.
Well, I'll tell you what, where he is.
Yeah.
So with DeAndre Swift,
yeah,
this is right where I was a big DeAndre Swift fan when we drafted him. And about week 2, I was done with him with us. And I'm telling you what, this is the problem. He's going to look good for you for about a quarter of the season. And then he's going to get hurt. And there are going to be weird injuries, and then he's just going to be irrelevant. That's the knock on DeAndre Swift is, he's got all the talent in the world, but you can't stay healthy. But
that's the same.
Shame
on
all of us, dude. This is football. Hermdo, this is football. And the Kansas City Chiefs just lost. Do you think their fan base is worried? Week 1?
Some of them probably are. Honestly, it's just like, because we're in like a new era of Lions football. Lions fans get a taste of the good life last couple seasons. People are flipping out. People are worried. A lot of people have, we have the Matt Patricia and the Matt Millen era still fresh in our minds. We're just worried about that kind of stuff. Kansas City Chiefs, all these teams are freaking out. 16 teams lost over the weekend, and their fan bases, people are freaking out, overreacting. I've seen some Chiefs overreactions before. People are saying that, all these issues with like, they're blaming Taylor Swift and all this shit, and they're saying Kelsey's cooked. They're saying all this shit over and over again, but it's just like, people got to pump the goddamn brakes for a little bit here, man. And it's just like, I know some people, Dan Orlovsky was running his mouth, and we had some other people, but it just for the most part, that's the storyline. People want the Detroit Lions to fail, but I got to say, it's just so early in the season, but this is what's expected. If you're a football fan, if you've been watching it, if you follow this stuff on social media, this is just how it is. People are going to freak out. All the people, like if the Lions bounce back next week, and I think they will, they're 5.5 points favorites. They're at Ford Field. They got Chicago Bears coming in. They know Ben Johnson's plays.
You know how these guys react. We've seen this before. Every team fails. No team wins every game and then runs the Super Bowl every year, right? So we've seen it's how you react and how you come back. And we know what happens with Dan Campbell. Him and his entire staff take all the accountability, the top-down accountability. They go back into the room and they work out every fucking last detail and respond well. So, like you said, man, Ben Johnson, home. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's whoop some
ass.
Let's
take care of it.
Because I'm sick of this.
Yeah, exactly. My point is, if the Lions bounce back next week, and all signs are pointing to they will, at least I hope, but if they bounce back, if they have a bounce back game and they put a hurting on the Bears, Goff goes off for like 3 or 4 touchdowns, Jahmyr Gibbs runs for over 100, and I don't want to hear it from all these doubters that were shitting their pants and crying this past weekend. I don't want to hear it. Of course, if they lose and look bad, I'll be cracking into my Hams stash, but as of right now, I got a good feeling. The Lions are resilient. This is still one of the best rosters in the league, some of the best talent in the league. And, it'll take a little bit of an adjustment period. Could they have exposed some of those guys to more preseason time? Could they have given them some more reps in the preseason and whatnot? You could argue that for a while. It is what it is now. I mean, there's no point living with regret. We got to put that behind us. We got to focus on the Bears next week. This is our get-right game. They're favored to win. They're favored to win like 4 of the next 5, or some number like that. But they're favored to win a few of these games coming up. I know we got the Ravens coming up. We got the Chiefs coming up, Eagles. Those are going to be some tough games. Got to believe the Lions will be able to lock it down and take care of business, at least to a certain degree. At least, to a point that, we can, get some momentum building in this division again. Can they win the division again this year? It's not impossible, but they got to get off on the right foot, and that starts with beating the Bears.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And I don't want to hear about I'm glad you brought the division up, but quite honestly, my perspective, it's the Super Bowl, dude. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
And it's getting into the playoffs healthy, and where I'm not even going to slice and dice matchups and get on hypotheticals when we're walking into week 2, because we're walking into week 2. This is a slow battle uphill for all the teams. No one is protected. Well, certain players might be by the refs, but we won't get into that. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you, hit the panic button, but I'm taking names, and I know you are too, of all the bandwagon fans, right? I'm writing every single one down, the ones that aren't engaged on the social media or podcast unless they're winning, the ones that aren't wearing the gear, the ones that take to Facebook the second Jared Goff throws an incomplete pass and says, this season, it's done. Season's over.
Yeah.
Like, what is your problem? How hurt were you as a child that you're just afraid for more mental pain to come through? Because, dude, it's ridiculous. My wife's own cousin hops on Facebook halfway through the game and he's like, the whole season's over. And I'm like, dude, Chris, it's a bit much, man. Like,
Yeah.
it's
I got
one
friends like
fucking game.
Yeah, I got friends like that. One of my very good buddies is he's talking all this shit about Brad Holmes. And granted, maybe Holmes could have done something with free agency. Maybe he could have added some pieces. He had a fuck ton of cap space. And I know some of Brad Holmes leave me scratching my head sometimes. But I mean, looking at the way the team is built right now, looking at what we have in place right now, I just can't do this. But just like, I've known this guy forever. We've been watching Lions games together since we were like little kids. I mean, we were watching during like the Barry Sanders, Chris Spielman days. And he does this all the time, but he enjoyed the last couple seasons, but it's just like now the brakes are, it's just like the wheels are falling off. It's over. It's that kind of stuff. But I want to point out, a few seasons ago, Eagles had an excellent season. They lost both their coordinators, had a down season 2 years ago, and last year they came back to win the Super Bowl. Similar story to the Lions. I'm not saying the Lions are going to have a down season this year. You don't know. But I'm just saying, a lot of people, there's so much negativity out there, and I'm sure, with Philadelphia Eagles fans, they've won 2 Super Bowls within the last decade, and I'm sure there's plenty of doubters and plenty of people questioning Jalen Hurts and whatnot. But you got to keep things in perspective, man. And if the Lions,
that's the word.
Yeah, you got to keep things in perspective.
Say it louder. That's the word.
Perspective. But you got to keep it, you got to keep it realistic, and you can't be getting too down on them, and you can't, it's just part of, I don't want to sound like a therapist, but you can't let this stuff affect your mood too much,
You're right. You have to sound like a therapist. That's what we are. We're sports therapists.
Yes.
And you've got these teams out here. Like, I'm looking, okay, the Baltimore Ravens play the Buffalo Bills.
Yes.
Somebody is going to be hurt in that game. That someone has to lose, right?
Yeah.
And not only did they lose, they lost in a fashion where Baltimore had them spanked.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Like, so what team do you want to be right now? Or do you want to be Baltimore that had them spanked and wants to come out for revenge, or Buffalo that had this incredible comeback in week 1, right? Like, you can play these up and down. It just depends on what perspective you want to take. Either way, it's week 1. And when you're fan of your own team, unlike some people, and when you are you believe in your own team, and you're confident in your own team, then you're not worried about the first game, right? And I learned that from our buddy Wayne, who's a Buffalo Bills fan. And he's like, hey, you and Hitch last year, you slap happy goofballs. You're 15-2. You've never had this before, but try learning to go and be a fucking fan of a winning franchise and understand that there's going to be some games you lose and you still have to stick with them. Right.
Yeah.
That's part of, I think, the Bills Mafia that I've always respected. And then you have the Lions team. And I swear to God, dude, as soon as Jared Goff sneezes, right, everybody's burning their jerseys. And it's just like, take it to the streets. He dropped the ball. I told you, and then I'm arguing with these guys and I'm like, wait, are you a fan of Detroit sports, or are you just always excited to be negative? What is it?
People live with like the negativity, and people get so used to it, because there was how many positive Lion stories were out there in the last, like, I'll just say, like, my lifetime of watching football. We remember the Lions winning that playoff game in 91, winning the division in 93, some of the great teams with Barry, and some of those Wayne Fonts teams. How good the Lions. Look, they weren't world beaters, but they're at least entertaining in the '90s. And then we all move on here.
Yeah.
But it's just like, how many positive stories in the last 35 years have you heard about the Detroit Lions? And we finally get a little. I mean, but just like people were just so used to being negative. Lions were just that like obligation on Sundays. Well, we're going to watch them. We're probably going to waste all Sunday doing it. They're probably going to lose in a bad fashion. How many devastating Lions losses have we seen against Green Bay, or like the refs would screw us over, or they'd call. I remember that Calvin Johnson catch that wasn't a catch against Chicago. I remember all these moments. And it's just, people can't let themselves be positive and believe. And it's like, at the same time, it's like, do you even like football at all? But
yeah. Do you watch the
know
game, or are you just on it for the social media hype?
Yeah. Because what else can really,
again,
Well, I mean,
you said it though.
Yeah.
We used to get screwed by the refs.
Yes.
Now we're just screwed ourselves, like a real football team does.
Mm-hmm.
So at least we've advanced now to like the caliber of a real respectful club where we're just screwing ourselves. Even the refs are like, no, we like you guys. We don't hate you as much as we used to.
Yeah.
We used to hate you guys.
But the Lions, it's just one of those things. And getting back to the Bills and the Ravens, two excellent teams. And I know Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson have not gone very far. And I mean, they've gotten decently far in the playoffs, but they have not won the ring yet. They haven't gotten that ring. And it's just
and they both should. They both are really good.
They're elite quarterbacks. They're like top
Josh Allen a little bit above Lamar Jackson.
I'd say so. And Lamar Jackson is a fucking phenom. But
he is.
It's just like, do you want? I mean, I would take. Look, I know they have, and there's Lions fans who are like, if they're not winning championships, I don't care. Miss me with that bullshit. I've watched too much bad, irrelevant football. Give me relevant football. Give me exciting games. Give me the big wins. We'll talk about the championships later. It's a step-by-step process. And people are just like, they blew their shot in 2023 when they lost that 17-point lead in the NFC Championship game against the 49ers. Fuck that shit. I still think the window's open. We're going to have up and down. It's still a thing. Even like, look at some of the losses the Ravens have incurred over the last few years. John Harbaugh, he blows a few leads every once in a while. But would your Baltimore Ravens fans want to get rid of him? Did they want to do they want to move Lamar out of town? Some people were saying when his contract was up and they weren't going to pick up his option a couple of years ago, they're like, get him out of here. I'm like, are you serious, dude? Do you want relevant football? I mean, it's just one of those things. It's just, it's hard for me to phrase it in a intelligent way, but it's like, give me relevant football. The championships, I don't want to say it's secondary. Obviously, you want to win championships, but it's just like, at the same time, it's just like, would the Bills and Ravens fans want to go back to being irrelevant? No. The Lions fans, now that they're, it's just, I know Lions have not won a ring in 60 years, but it's just like, do you want to go back to the bad times? Do you want to fall apart and sell all the pieces and just be in a permanent rebuilding mode? No, you want the relevance.
Where
I'll take
our
that
fan
every
base
day.
needs to. They need to step it up, like the Bills and the Ravens, right? Fan base, because you know how you continue to be relevant, and your window never closes as long as you continue to draft well. And that's what this organization has done. So if you're going to continue to draft well, and you're going to continue to bring in young talent at an affordable price and manage your cap and do everything that the franchises we've just named, right? If you do that, then you don't foreclose your window. Baltimore's window never closes. And they always draft well. Buffalo's window hasn't closed in a long time because they're good and they continue to draft well and make the right decisions and move on from the players. And I mean, if you're that good of a team, as long as your core leadership group stays together, you're going to be good. That's how you build these dynasties.
Exactly. That's how you stay relevant for the better part of a decade in the league. That's how you attract talent.
So if you have Brad Holmes, and you have Dan Campbell, and you have, Chris Spielman in the front office, and you have all these guys, as long as that head core piece, that leadership table, that however you want to call it, board of directors, stays the same, then everything below will always act the right way. And not in that way, but like every position, every player will act a certain and play their role.
That's true.
So when it's top down, keep the top normal.
Yes.
Fuck.
That's true. No, it's okay. It's okay. Don't worry. Don't be upset. It's okay. But one thing I want to just say, and it's just an aside, and I don't want to sound like a homer here, but it's very apparent to me, Lions fans, a lot of Lions fans. I don't want to say most Lions fans, but a good number of Lions fans who are very vocal. They don't know what it's like to have a winning franchise. They don't know
No.
how to react to it. They don't know
Nope.
how, I mean, we know what it's like to have winning basketball, winning baseball, winning hockey, especially. They know what it's like to have winning college programs, but we don't know when it comes to the NFL, we don't know what it's like to be relevant, and we're like scared of it. And I tell you, and look at the way a lot of the league, like the fan bases in the other league, in the other teams and states and cities, look how they react to us. Just like Lions fans were punching bags for 60 years. Now we're a little bit relevant and people are getting sick of us already. But that's just the way it is. When you start talking shit, when you start beating the big teams, winning the big games, slapping around your division rivals, beating people embarrassingly, threatening for the Super Bowl, you get that target on your back, you know. And I don't think a lot of Lions fans can really cope with that. And it's kind of embarrassing, honestly.
It is, and they can smell blood in the water, and they can smell
Yes.
when you're a bandwagon fan. They really can, right? And I'm reminded of a fan base that no matter how shitty they are, they absolutely like the freaking Dolphins, dude. The Dolphins have been, from a actual football relevancy perspective, haven't been relevant since Dan Marino, since Ace
Yeah.
Ventura: Pet Detective. Okay, let's be real. But no matter what, the Miami Dolphins are a sweetheart team. They love covering them. They love the jerseys. Everyone's going to go play in Miami. They love
Yeah.
overhyping them. You know, I look at that team and I look at that franchise and I say, that's what you don't want to be. Because
Yeah.
in my eyes, we were like neck and neck with the Dolphins like 15 years ago, like right before Caldwell, maybe. And the franchises were at a real low point, and we were like, it was us or the Dolphins as far as like, if you were a new head coach, where do you want to start off at? And everyone's like, well, I'm going to Miami, right? And I've always been like, yeah, but that's not a good football town. That's not like,
Yeah.
they've always been teams that have, like Stephen Ross, dude, he just freaking creep. He just overpays for vets. He does the Jerry Jones approach, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So don't be the Dolphins, dude. Don't be Miami. Don't be obnoxious. If you're
Yeah.
gonna be obnoxious, back it up in a gritty way.
Yeah, they're bringing guys like oh, what's his name? The guy he's like arrested for speeding a bunch of times. They get like bad character guys in there. Who's that?
They get guys that just want to party in
Yeah.
nightclub and sign big
They
contracts.
guys just want to party. It's just like winning doesn't seem to be like a priority there. You know, I've defended Tua before, but I think the guy he's just not built for this shit. I hate to say it, but it's just like it doesn't seem like it's a priority there. They go through head coaches like crazy. I mean, don't get me wrong, Miami's a beautiful city. I'm sure it's fun to play there, you know, bask in the go to the beach and, you know, enjoy yourself and whatnot. But I mean, compared to like
Mike
Detroit,
McDaniels is like a little douche now. You're gonna go all in on that look. You better literally be a genius, and you just look like an idiot. And I don't care how many times you try to, sell me on Tua. I know everybody was a fan of Tua, and I was not a Tua hater. I just did not see it working, and it's not. And Vontae Davis, his old teammate who just played him, said, "Listen, it's real simple. The whole league knows. If you take away his first option, then he's lost." So all you have to do is figure out every play, who's his first option, take it away. He doesn't know what to do. So
yeah, exactly.
It's like if you're this far into the game and this far into the league and you're getting paid this much and you played at Alabama and there's a franchise behind you, that can't be the scouting report on you. Take away his first option and he's lost.
Yeah, exactly.
So now they're saying, give me Shedeur Sanders, which is hilarious.
Oh God, Shedeur. What are we gonna do with our good buddy Shedeur? I mean, what do you expect from Deion Sanders' kid, really? But it's just one of those things. It's about like it's like ego driven, and the system they have in place, just it's not. They're not close to being. I mean, yeah, they're the sweetheart story. You know, I mean, you get like lovable loser teams here, like Chicago Cubs were a lovable loser team.
Yeah.
Before they won, and you get teams like that. All over the place. Just people kind of feel bad for them or whatnot. But I don't want that. I don't want to be the lovable loser anymore, man. And I've had a
Yeah, I
taste of
know.
life outside of that. I don't want to be some cutesy little story. I know the Lions had some relevance in the Stafford era with Calvin Johnson
You
and
want to be the
whatnot, but
Carolina Panthers.
yeah, Carolina Panthers or that shit. You know, I mean, good luck with Bryce Young, but you know, it's just one of those. It's one of those things. It's just, I just, I just want to enjoy. Can't I just enjoy some football and just take the losses with a grain of salt and just move on? Do we have to do this shit every time? This stupid routine where every time the Lions
Mm-hmm.
fuck something up, we got to just do the whole SOL routine. I had people texting me that SOL, SOL. It's just like, are you fucking serious? Do the last 3 years not matter? I mean, for the love of God,
Put
and
those
we do
people
this.
on a list.
Maybe it's just like, am I not a good enough sports fan because I don't rag on my team enough? It's just like I've ragged on them for 30 years. Can I finally have a break? Do I have to call out all
That's
the
true.
coordinators and the players? I've been bitching and pissing and moaning about the Lions my entire life. My entire life. Can I just enjoy a little bit of their relevancy? Am I a bad fan if I'm not calling for the one of the most elite GMs in the sport to be fired because they had one shitty game and they didn't sign a couple good free agents? Give me a fucking break. Because they didn't give Zadarius Smith $10 million. Give me a fucking break. I've had it, Mark. Mark, I'm done with it, man.
I'm gonna get a whiteboard, and I'm seriously gonna do this. And I
Yeah.
think we're gonna start writing down all of the excuses and bullshit that you just said, right?
Yeah.
Not signing Zadarius. Okay, people. Oh,
Mhm.
you should have signed Zadarius Smith and paid him. Okay, let's see at the end of the season if that was going to be the difference maker. I want to see how he plays out. And you're going to tell me that that guy's going to do something that's worth $9 million a year. That like you
Yeah.
really truly think that was going to be the make it or break it. I'm sorry, if they
Yeah.
really truly believed in him, they would have got him a lot sooner. So
Yeah.
but I get what you're saying. We're gonna make a hit list week 1. All the
Mhm.
names of the people, all the excuses, and then we're checking back in, and then you'll feel complete by week 18.
Of course, if they miss the playoffs this season, we're gonna look like a couple of assholes. But no, I'm just being silly.
Well, then we just go back and delete everything.
Yeah, well, of course. What are you talking about? We never said the Lions were good. Shut up. We always hated Brad Holmes. Shut up.
Yeah,
But
we had a whole podcast on the Vikings and the Bears.
yeah,
It was
we love the
nothing to do
Vikings.
with the
Yay.
Lions.
JJ McCarthy,
Yeah,
yay. I got some stats
exactly.
actually. I got some stuff
Let's
here I
hear it.
wanted to share with you regarding like some of the performances. Now, I just want to make a quick aside, and one thing I wanted to point out when we were talking about the Bears earlier is the number of penalties this team took. They had like 12, I think it was 12 penalties for 127 yards. If you can't get this squad disciplined, you're going to have a miserable season. And I don't know how much of that I want to put on Ben Johnson, but you know, hey, you're running the show now, man. And the Lions played clean. You know, I don't know what kind of new attitude he's bringing with those guys. And, you know, I could only assign blame to so many people, but it's just like, you got to tighten that up. But anyways, let's get into a couple things. I saw this on Twitter talking about like Tate Ratledge, you know, Graham Glasgow. We know they've been kind of shifted around. Graham Glasgow's kind of been this jack of all trades. But this guy, Tate Ratledge, he had the worst pass blocking grade among Lions offensive linemen yesterday with a 39.2 overall grade per Pro Football Focus. This young man, I know he's only been here for a little while. I don't dislike him. You know, I don't really think I dislike any Lions player really because I'm a homer, but it's an issue. I don't think this kind of stuff falls. I mean, you could say, yeah, it's John Morton's fault, but there's some stuff like this. The O-line deficiencies, at least initially, I don't want to put all on John Morton. You know, I mean, guys, and Graham Glasgow, let's face it, he didn't impress. Nobody had a good game. Nobody really had a good game. You know, Hutch
I was going to say
struggling.
Taylor Decker didn't.
Taylor Decker, yeah.
Penny had a
Penei Sewell
below
didn't have a
average
good game.
game.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. But we got to play up to this, and I think some of it does fall on the coaching staff, obviously. But it's just you gotta. But with this game, it's just like Lions got punched in the mouth, and they're gonna have to recover from this stuff. But I
They
have to
punched
cut some
themselves in the
people.
mouth.
Yeah, they punched themselves in the mouth, basically. But these problems are fixable. And there's something else I wanted to kind of segue into this next part. I saw this tweet. Interesting Jared Goff stats from week 1. His 3.09 seconds average time to throw was the third longest in the NFL behind Fields and Hurts, while his 27.3% pressure rate was only the 11th lowest. So he was able to hold the ball but wasn't under overwhelming pressure. Issues likely came from one-dimensional predictable down distances due to no run game and routes failing to separate. That is on John Morton. But 3.09 seconds to throw was longer than any individual game for Goff last season. If you look at some of these stats, some of the team stats from the Lions had, they had similar total yards. They had 246 total yards, 266 total yards for the Packers. But, third down efficiency was 5 of 15. It just wasn't getting home. I mean, Green Bay was only slightly better. But time of possession for the Lions was 35 minutes and 25 seconds. Time of possession for the Bears was 24 minutes and 35 seconds. And another thing that leaps out at me was the total plays for the Lions was 65. The total plays for the Bears was 47. They had the opportunities, but that was just shitty.
They didn't close, and that was their own fault.
It was their own fault. Yes. Yes. That falls on the coaches.
That falls on everybody. I feel like that's even one where whether, John Morton puts out a soft play call. Well, then guess what? The execution of it was really soft too, because they just didn't seem like there was any everything was hesitation. There was no urgency, right? I don't know. There's no excuse other than, dude, they just need to step it up. Wake up.
Yeah, they absolutely do. There's no excuses for this, but I'm just saying these numbers to me, looking at these numbers, it just proves to me the Lions had opportunities, did not seize on them, and that is.
And Laporta looked great, so you can't tell me he had no game over the middle for the red zone. Why didn't they have Laporta in the red zone? They just did. I don't know. I don't even want to spend that much time thinking about it because it's so weird.
It is weird. They just came off, and I figured Aiden Hutchinson would be a little rusty, and you keep hearing about him getting double teamed all the time. I don't like that double team excuse because you don't hear it from Trey Hendrickson. You don't hear it from Micah Parsons. It's just like, when you get double teamed, and don't get me wrong, I still think Hutch is a monster, but, it's just like, you got to step up, buddy. Everybody has to focus and play better. But I trust this Lions team to take the right lessons from this loss and recover and come back.
And that's the key to week 2.
Yeah.
That's the key to week 2 is literally, we can just toss this bullshit away. And just, week 1 is over with. The key to week 2 is exactly what you just said.
Yes.
That's it. There's no more. I mean, and when it comes down to it, it should be in our favor, right? I expect them to just fire on all cylinders. I expect, for them to, Jesus, even from a defensive standpoint, guys, had the ball, you intercepted the ball back to back and you still wouldn't give it to you. So God damn it, play pissed off. That's all I'm saying. And they have every reason to play pissed off. So
they absolutely are.
I guess to me, who do you think is going to be in this game? Is this the game though? This Bears game, is this the game where we start to see Aiden Hutchinson have 2 sacks in a game? Or is this the game where we see, 200-yard wide receivers? What do you think this game looks like?
The biggest thing I think we're going to see a bounce back game from Hutch. I think, he's still raw, and I'm still a little, but it's just I think Hutch is going to have I think Hutch will bounce back nicely. And I'm really hoping, and I have faith that the offensive line will be better. They'll get a better scheme going. They'll be able to open up some gaps and kind of anticipate the defense a little bit. I think Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery had a combined 44 yards. They were total non-factors. It's obscene.
Pathetic.
And you have to know, one of the most dynamic, it's Sonic and Knuckles, for God's sake. I know some people are calling them ass and cheeks, but still, those two guys got to be pissed off, and they're going to want to go after. I don't know, they got some good defenders in Chicago. They got Montez Sweat. They got some guys on the field, Brady Garrett or Jarrett, whatever his name is. They're not bad up front, but or bad in the interior. But it's just I think those two guys. I think we're gonna wanna make a statement. I think pretty much a lot of Lions players, especially Goff, and Goff he wasn't god awful, but the routes were so bad. The routes I saw some stills, and I'm not any kind of some of this analysis, the route stuff kind of throws me a little bit. I'm just I'm not sure what, but just the formations on the field were so goofy. And it's just like, what are we doing here? And they had guys like Amon Ra out there wide open, not getting the ball to him. It's just like, but yeah, I'm trusting. I'm really, really hoping John Morton tightens it up. But it's just, I have to believe this offense, especially, is going to want to get back in this game. And we're going to see some big games from Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. I think because, you know, we got to get JMO, and they're going to be getting more reps to Isaac Tesla. We'll see what this guy can do. We'll see if this guy can be an end zone threat. We'll see, you know, how many more balls he can haul in. We got to get this offense working in motion, you know, because it's just been, you know, it's just, this game was such a utter disaster. But I got to believe we'll right the ship. I'm being positive Hermdo. We're breathing in, we're breathing out, we're feeling good. So,
well, I think I think the whole city is behind you in this one. And then that's what get me thinking, okay, let's take a look at the landscape, of the NFL around us as we're doing what you just described. So we've got starting with our division, Commanders Packers, right?
yes.
This is going to be a game that I'm actually really interested to see on Thursday night. They're finally starting to put good games on Thursday night.
Thank God.
If the Commanders can take down the Packers, you're going to sleep really good that night. And I think we're going to go to social media history, right? Like, dude, I'll go buy a Jaden Daniels jersey.
Hell yeah.
And then you've got the our friendly folks with the Vikings playing the Falcons, which,
yeah,
I don't know. To me, the Falcons are always going to be like a 500 team that will just beat you when you least expect it. So that could be a humbling game for J.J. McCarthy, where he's playing a team where you'd actually expect him to beat them. And the Falcons end up coming by and saying, hey, between Michael Penix and our Great Clips guy, what's his face? Kirk Cousins, or not Kirk Cousins. We'll figure out a win, right? And maybe it'll be a Bijan Robinson running it on my Minnesota. But so then you've got the Giants and the Cowboys. If there is a game that I want to watch and laugh when the Giants beat the Cowboys, because the Giants are awful, and I bet you they beat the Cowboys.
God, the Giants. Watching that game, watching Russell Wilson. Oh man, is he cooked, man? I feel so bad for him.
Awful.
I remember. He's awful. They're talking about starting Jackson.
Why do you feel bad
over
for him?
I shouldn't feel bad, but you know what I mean.
So much money.
I know he made so much money. You know, I mean, he took the Broncos to the cleaners. He got his money, but you know, I just remember how I remember the Legion of Boom days in Seattle, and that team was so much fun to watch. And then just watching Russell now. I mean, he's not dangerous.
He was the least fun thing about that team, though. You have to admit.
Yeah.
It was Marshawn Lynch and that defense that you loved.
Marshawn Lynch, yeah. It was just, and Russell, I mean, look, he was a damn good quarterback for a while. I'm not saying he was nothing spectacular, but he was able to lead his team. But, you know, it's one of those things, just watching this
He didn't have to be the entire face of that team, though.
Yeah, no, he didn't.
Marshawn Lynch and Richard Sherman and the 12th man.
Cam Chancellor, yeah.
Cam Chancellor, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but
those guys were the team. And then Russell Wilson was just like the quiet little guy who was like, hey, guys, you mind if I play quarterback today?
Yeah, but he's one of those guys, you know, just figured like, I figured he'd bounce back a little bit. I thought he would kind of be like a Baker Mayfield, where they get sick of him in Cleveland and he bounces around. He goes to Carolina. Now he finds a new home in Tampa Bay, and he's in Tom Brady's shadow, but he's able to, you know, really put together some good games. And, you know, he's back in commercials again. People love Baker and all this stuff. And I thought the same thing was going to happen with Russell. I thought, okay, this Denver Broncos thing with Sean Payton or whoever, that was never going to work out. The Steelers thing, I mean, he was competing with Justin Fields. Now they're both gone. I don't know what's going on with the Steelers, but it's just, now they got Aaron Rodgers, but that's another, him, oh God. But, and just, you know, I thought Russell would have
Baker
a bounce back.
To me, though,
yeah,
he's authentic, Tom.
Yes.
Fucking Russell Wilson is not. And that's the biggest thing is
yeah,
nobody's buying into that. They really are not.
No, they're not. He's cooked. He's done. Just, I don't know what's his contract with the New York Giants. Not to take away from the Lions too much, but
I mean, at some point in time, we have to make a whole show about Russell Wilson.
We have to talk about the guy. What is Russell's contract? I'm just curious because he's still getting. I mean, God, how many
fans get to read this?
Yeah.
So he
1-year contract with the
currently
New
has
York
a
Giants
1-year
for
contract with the
10.5 million
Giants.
and fully guaranteed. Ooh, baby. Still getting $10 million to get, to just do nothing. He's on vacation there.
Exactly.
He's on
He is on
vacation.
vacation.
What were the terms of his Denver contract? Didn't he sign a 5-year, $242 million deal with Dallas? And he played what?
Bad.
Oh my God.
Bad. So bad.
He walked away with
I think they still.
how much that was guaranteed? I'm just curious. But
a lot of it, I believe.
I mean, a ton of it
Sorry,
must have
my
been. I mean,
internet's
probably
taking
close to 200
forever.
million. I mean, they're going to be paying him for.
Let's see where he's at on their. He's got to be in dead cap space.
Yeah, he absolutely has to be. Where is our good buddy Russell? Where
There's
is
gotta be a
Danger
different
Russ?
one.
Yeah.
Danger Russ. Russell Wilson's
Danger Russ.
contract will put Denver. I'll get a little Danger Russ. He's so ugh.
But he never played.
Russell Wilson had a
165 million. He never
It's so
played it
much
down
money.
under. He never played it down under that extension. The Broncos cut Wilson in March 2024, resulting in significant dead money charge for the contract. He never fully played out. The deal was agreed to September 2022. The Broncos acquired Wilson in a trade, and the contract was significant at its time for his high overall value and guaranteed money. We thought he was going to revamp Denver. We thought Seattle just, was totally fucked. And granted, they haven't really been great shakes ever. They're trying to, I don't even know who but it's just what an absolute disaster. But look at keeping things on the topic of like bad quarterback contracts. Look at Deshaun Watson in Cleveland, and after
hands
you had
down
your time,
one of the worst contracts ever.
Absolute dog shit contracts. But I remember people in Detroit media, and this is right after we got Goff, and it was right around the same time they signed.
Yeah.
They signed Deshaun Watson right around the same time.
See, this is why we need a list.
Yeah.
Because we could come back to this and say, hey, Steve Jackson from Downriver, you're the one that wanted to deal with this right now.
Yeah, but you know who was saying that? Fucking Mike Valenti. He was like, look what Cleveland did. Look what Cleveland did. They got Deshaun Watson in there. They're revamping their team. Baker Mayfield is cooked. They got Deshaun Watson. They're going to be... Lions never make moves like this. Lions never do something like this. And how has it worked out for the Browns? Now they have like a carnival. They have like Shadur Sanders. They have all these cast-offs. It's just... Oh, yeah, look at the Deshaun Watson. $230 million fully guaranteed.
Had to highlight it so we didn't forget about it. Fully guaranteed money.
Yeah.
You want to talk about a vacation?
My God.
He's owed $46 million in each of the 25 and 26 seasons. $46 million, and he doesn't put a jersey on.
He doesn't do shit. And dangerous.
Doesn't do anything.
Dangerous. Russell Wilson's going to be making that money. Deshaun Watson's going to be making that money. It's just one of those things. Like the Max Scherzer deal, too. Not to cut off the baseball, but he's getting paid millions to do jack shit from the Mets. But
no, hey,
these deals exist. This is an excellent topic. Just looking at some of this shit, it's just like, and whatever, the Lions, be grateful you're not in this situation. Be grateful. And Bo Nix might be special for the Broncos. I don't know. I don't know if Sean Payton's going to use him correctly. But just think, every time somebody wants to shit on Goff produces for us. He's not flashy. He's a workmanlike guy. He's not going to be one of those, he's not going to be some flashy dude like Lamar Jackson or anything like that. Or I don't put him on the level of like some of the other guys, like the Josh Allens and whatnot, the Patrick Mahomes, maybe not even Jalen Hurts. But it's just like a guy who just comes in and does his job, and there's no drama from the guy at all. And he just comes in, and you're paying him a good amount of money, but it seems like a deal compared to some of these other contracts, like a good deal, which is pretty, in line with some of Holmes' other contracts he's been handing out. The situation in the Lions, whatever you think about that, just imagine being like the Browns or the Broncos, and just signing these $250 million deals with guys who absolutely cannot get the job done. And Deshaun Watson was elite for a while. He was, but. He was, but
now. Not long though.
Yeah,
not long. He so quick.
He had a very short prime. But there's one thing I will say about Deshaun Watson. I think that brought this up, but he's the one that embarrassed Matt Patricia enough that Sheila Ford Hamp made that move to get rid of him. But
It's
a little
true.
aside there.
And you brought up a Mike Valeni wanted somebody. There's also
Yeah.
somebody that Mike Valeni wanted to sell the farm at all costs to bring in. It was Ben Simmons. And look at that.
Oh, God. Valeni has so many hot takes, man.
But that's
God
the
almighty.
problem, though. He's the catalyst. He's the cattle prod. He's going to say at the moment what's going to piss you off. So he's the type of guy that's going to say MASH is an overrated show. And he's like, I don't really care about that, but I know it's going to piss people off.
I remember one.
And that's why he knows if you say, okay, a team like Cleveland goes out and puts $230 million into a player, and at the time it looks like they were investing in a big, oh my God, I can't believe Houston's letting him go. Did you see what he just did? Well, I think they knew behind the scenes this guy couldn't keep his shit together.
No,
right?
he couldn't.
Right? And it's just like, it's the same thing with Russell Wilson. They were like, yeah, go ahead, sign him. And you didn't realize how corny he was.
Because Russell Wilson was such a name. And yeah, he wasn't like spectacular. He was such a big name. Everybody remembers him from the early Seattle days. 10 straight seasons. He was a great quarterback. You know, I mean,
he good dude. But in that perfect scenario where all he had to do is just do his job, right?
Yeah.
And if his job is to do the pomp and circumstance and the this and the that, then it's like, oh boy,
yeah. But
and they knew what to put around him.
Yeah, they knew. I don't know what the deal was with Denver. It just clearly didn't work. I'm not sure who. I mean, I don't have all the rosters memorized from back then, but you know, it's just one of those things. You know, but you know, it's just I have a feeling like I can't. You know, just be grateful for what you have and be grateful that it works. And, you know, because Lions could be in a situation, you know, some of Lions' old management might have done something like this, you know, handed all that money over, handed like a guaranteed $200 million over.
Day.
Yeah.
We would have
paid
your team. We would have paid old broken people. We would have.
Imagine,
We would have paid the corners that were busted, the wide receivers that lost their first step. We would have paid. That's what we did in the past, right? We paid guys.
Yeah, well, that's what we did. We didn't pay Kenny Golladay though, and look how that worked out for Dallas. That's one thing. Yeah,
that's one thing.
That's one thing. But still, I mean, they gave him like $40 million guaranteed because Kenny Golladay had that fantastic season, but
he did. But it was all because of Stafford, right?
Yes, it was all Stafford. He was carried by. But
hey, Trey Flowers, that was a bad contract. That was a real bad contract.
Jesus Christ.
But that's going out and doing what you just said we should have, like, that people are getting pissed off.
Yeah.
You went out and overpaid for an older guy who already did his due diligence in the league.
Yeah.
Right? And that's just the problem where it's like, okay, it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. And
it's just
I'm looking at these ones. There really wasn't a lot of bad contracts. It was just a lot of bad trades, like the Darius Slay trade. They list Cam Sutton on here because
that was a bad.
We inked him to we didn't know he was beating the shit out of his domestic partners.
Well, yeah, that was a mess. The C.J. Gardner-Johnson thing, the Snacks Harrison thing, you know, Patricia chasing. Who did he chase out of town? Was that Glover Quinn or was that?
No, that was Darius Slay.
Darius Slay, right. I get those confused sometimes, but yeah, it's just like looking at some of these guys that have come here for us, you know, look at some of the guys that didn't work out, you know, it's what every team goes through. And the Lions sure seem to have a lot of those guys, but you know, these days, you know, the Lions seem to be so far away from that. We're not like a desperate team. People want to be like desperate and miserable, but I mean, the Lions, they're not. We
believe we believe in our roster so bad. We're just sitting here going, say we're not worried, dude.
A roster built by the draft has like 16 Pro Bowlers on it, all from the draft in the last 4 years. You know.
Do you remember the 2023 Chiefs?
Yeah.
Week 1, what'd they do?
They lost to us.
Okay. Then they won a Super Bowl.
Yes.
2020 Buccaneers, Week 1, they lost. They won a Super Bowl. 2011 Giants, Week 1, lost, won a Super Bowl. 2007 Giants, lost. 2003 Patriots, lost, won a Super Bowl. 2002 Bucks, lost, won a Super Bowl. 2001 Patriots, lost. You know what I mean? Like, this is where I'm saying, and you're seeing a lot of these same teams, because at the same time, you're seeing a lot of these I don't want to say dynasties, but these we just talked about, good organizations that draft really well, that are constantly in the mix of things. Sometimes Week 1, they lose a game.
Yeah, exactly. It happens. It's happened so many times throughout history. There's so many moments you can point to where maybe these teams go through a little bit of downstretch. Look, Look at the Super Bowl run the Rams went on. They lost 3 games in a row, and they were looking bad. People were shitting all over Stafford. People were freaking out about that in L.A. They were just saying, Stat Patford's back. The season's done. They went on to win the Super Bowl, and they looked damn good in the Super Bowl, and Matty got his ring. It's just like,
dude, let's talk about all the nicknames for Matt Stafford.
Lord.
And all the Stafford calls and all the Stafford drops and all the Stafford commands.
God, Matt. I'm happy for the guy. He got his ring. I think his wife's I don't want to say, but other than that, I mean, his wife's
she's obnoxious, dude.
She's an idiot, but
she's pretty obnoxious.
I'm just kind of, yeah.
There's a time where I was probably like, oh, yeah, Kelly, she's supporting the team. And there's a point in time where she just got really kind of obnoxious.
It's like
and
Kelly.
She was hanging out with Hank Winchester from Help Me Hank and on Fox 2, and it was just getting weird, man. That just kind of glad she got traded.
I know she's gone through some adversity and stuff, but it's just like, Kelly, you're just Matt Stafford's wife. We don't need to hear from you. Thank you for having sex with Matt Stafford and having a couple of his kids, but we don't need to hear from you, Kelly.
Thanks for sexing up Matt. Well, speaking of sexing up, there's some other teams that you've been covering so eloquently on the page, and dude, your Red Wings content, I'm not kidding you, is blowing it out of the water. Like all the subscribers that we've been getting, these new overwhelmingly amount of subscribers now that we're at 208, which we're marching to 500. It's pretty crazy, dude. So like, I'm really geeked. Like, when does hockey start? Tell me right now.
Season starts, let me take a look. I think it's October. Hold on one second. I know training camp starts soon. I think it starts on the 18th, but the preseason starts Tuesday, September 23rd. We're playing the Blackhawks. Then the 25th, we're playing the Sabres. We got a few. We're playing the Sabres, Penguins, and Blackhawks. And then regular season starts October 9th at 7 p.m. We're playing Montreal Canadiens. Classic Original Six matchup. I believe we're playing in Montreal, but we'll be excited to see, James Van Riemsdyk. We'll probably see, more of Marco Kasper, more of Simone Edvidson. We're going to see Jacob. I don't know about Jacob Bernard Docker. I think it's going to be Jacob Bernard Docker. A couple of the guys he brought, some of the fill-in pieces here and there. We're going to be seeing kind of this new team. We're going to be seeing Todd McClellan, see what he can bring in a full year of head coach. See what kind of experience he can bring to the team. We're going to be seeing the new goaltender, John Gibson from the Anaheim Ducks. We just brought him over last offseason, seeing if he could be that spark plug and make sure that we don't have any more Ville Husso situations. But yeah, it's going to be, I think it'll be good. I think the Wings are poised. I know it's just playoffs or bust. It's been playoffs or bust for like 4 years now, but I think the Wings could do something special this year. I think they can lock up a wild card spot. I do think we're going to get some very tough competition because you see the Canadiens, and they fell off after that cup run, but they're making steps. They made the playoffs last year. Ottawa Senators starting to become a dangerous team. They got Brady Tkachuk. They got a lot of talent. They got Sanderson. They got a lot of talent on that squad. Tim Stützle, he's one of those guys. I put him at like 1 and 1A with Lucas Raymond. Real good forward. One of those guys gets you like 80, 90 points a year. But we see other teams like that starting to kind of eclipse the Red Wings. And we were talking about this in my one of my videos where I talking about like kind of comparing the rebuilds of like the bottom 4 division teams in the Atlantic. The only team that's probably worse than the Red Wings as of this moment, the only rebuilding team that's worse than the Red Wings as of this moment, it's got to be the Buffalo Sabres. They got Tage Thompson. They got Rasmus Dahlin. They got a lot of talent. They just don't have the coaching in place. They're a real mess. Buffalo's been a mess for a long time. I think the longest active postseason drought. I think they're 14 or 15
when have they
seasons.
ever been respectful?
They got to back-to-back Western Conference Finals, 06-07 under Lindy Ruff. Lindy Ruff's a longtime coach. They got to the finals under him in 1999. Miroslav Shapan was playing. Dominic Hasek was still on that team. That's how long ago that was. But they had Ryan Miller.
Yeah, wow, holy crap. Yeah. There you go.
They had Ryan Miller in the mid to late 2000s. They had Thomas Vanek. They had Chris Drury. They had Jason Pominville. They had some really, really good teams.
Chris Drury.
Yeah, they lost. Who did they lose to? They lost to the Carolina in 06. Carolina goes on to win the Cup. And then Buffalo lost to, I want to say, not Anaheim, but the Senators. Senators went to the Cup that year. They lost to Anaheim, but that's neither here nor there. So they have had some good hockey. But the last decade and a half has been absolutely rough. Pegula, I don't know what the hell he's doing, but the Buffalo Sabres have kind of just been a non-factor. I hate to say it, it's probably it's they've never won a Stanley Cup. They got to the finals, and they've only been to the finals twice in their existence. 75 with Rick Leach, Rene Robert, Gilbert Perreault, and 99 with Lindy Ruff. They had Miroslav Shatan on that team, Dominik Hasek. I think they had Rob Ray, if I'm not mistaken, that really punishing defenseman back then, but they lost to Dallas. It was a controversial goal. Like Brett Hull might have had a skate in the crease in game. Was that game 5 or 6? I don't remember. But anyways, they lost. But the another team, yeah, so Buffalo's kind of just like a non-factor. But another team, I think, is going to be taking a significant step backwards. It's going to be the Boston Bruins. I don't think they're going to be bottom feeders, but I do think that, as the season goes on, Bergeron's gone, Marchand's gone. That disastrous 2023 postseason run, getting knocked out in the first round to the Florida Panthers, that was pretty pathetic. Was it the Panthers that year? I think it was. But yeah, Boston, I mean, they got, David Pastrnak. He's still a really dynamic player. He's a certified superstar. They still got good goaltending. I mean, but as far as like being I think their cup window is closed, at least for now. But the Boston, they won it all in 2011, and they got back to the finals in 13, got back to the finals in 19, lost to St. Louis. So for the last decade plus, they've been playing good hockey, and they just have not got their hands
relevant.
They've been very relevant. Boston Bruins have been a real force in hockey, but it's just like the last couple of years, they missed the playoff season. They missed the playoffs last year. Last year was the first time all four American Original Six teams missed the playoffs. Rangers missed the playoffs. Blackhawks missed the players. Wings missed the playoffs. Bruins missed the playoffs. So that's kind of crazy to think about, thinking about those franchises and how good they were. New York, I mean, they're their upcoming team. They got to the finals in 14, lost. It was King Henrik's final farewell. But I'm rambling. You have to forgive me. But yeah, we'll see.
No,
Bruins
dude,
are probably going to stink this year.
Your hockey content's killing it. I actually have a question for you that someone
go ahead.
reached out to me
Sure.
and wanted to know. So this is someone we actually went to high school with. So this is from Dan Venditelli, a.k.a.
Danny.
Dan the Man, a.k.a.
Danny,
Mookie
baby.
Dan, a.k.a. Big Dan.
Yeah, I know
don't
Dan.
even need
Dan's
an
good
introduction.
people.
So he wants to know basically, and you've kind of already answered some of this, but he wants to know if our current coaching staff is kind of where Babcock left off, as he's stuck right there in the shadows of Babcock's glory days. Can he live up to the Detroit hype? We've kind of talked about his Stevie Y questions, which is kind of what he wanted to know.
Yeah.
And you've mentioned before, but really, dude, is this coaching staff stuck in the shadows? And that's what he wants to know. You
I'd say Babcock hasn't coached here since 2015. I think that the era of Babcock, look, I think he was the winningest coach. I think he surpassed Jack Adams in terms of how winning the coach was for the Red Wings franchise. But another thing, I think the Babcock era, that was the late Ken Holland era, and that was marked by bringing in bad free agents, bad rentals, sacrificing the future. Like one example I can think of, they traded Kalle Järnkrok. Now, Kalle Järnkrok's been a serviceable bottom six center in the league for a decade, and we traded him for like 2 months of David Legwand, who stinks. But think of all just the dog crap free agents we brought in here. I think that era was more noted by Ken Holland. Mike Babcock's one of those guys. He kind of had but look at, he goes over to Toronto, and there's all this controversy. They basically chase him out of Toronto. So, but Mike Babcock's legacy,
they did not like him there. But they
did like him there
when they got him. They were like,
they loved when they got him. They were talking
we
shit.
got Babcock.
Yeah, they were talking some serious shit, but but Mike Babcock era, it was, and he had some really archaic views about player injuries and stuff like that, concussion protocol and whatnot. But to say they're stuck in the Babcock era, I don't believe that. That's an interesting question. I gotta believe the era of Mike Babcock kind of ended. You could kind of say Jeff Blashill kept continuing it for the last few years. When the Wings were just nosediving, and the last gasp of relevance was under Mike Babcock. When they won, they got to the second round and lost in 7 games to the Chicago Blackhawks that year, and that's one of those things. But the stink of Babcock is gone. I'd say that whose shadow they're playing under right now. That's an interesting question, because I see the Babcock's influence just isn't really there anymore. We've had 1, 2, 3 coaches since then. This is Stevie Y's show now, and like
so let me ask you
yeah.
this. I misread something that he
Okay.
put in here. It's a good perspective. This
Okay.
new generation of fans, Tom, he wants to know, did they even give a shit who Stevie Y is? Does
Stevie
it
Y-
matter to them? It matters to
Yeah.
you and I, but we're
It matters to
old,
me,
dude. We're
'cause
washed up.
we watched him win championships for us. Stevie Y retired in 2006. I remember that year. The Wings got like that 05-06 team, Shanahan, they had Yzerman, they had Lidstrom, they had Datsuk, Zetterberg. That was a great team. They won 58 games that year. They had 120 points. They lost in the first round to the Edmonton Oilers, who wound up going to the finals that year. But I remember Stevie Y's last walk off the ice. I've seen pictures of it, but there's a bar I used to drink at, had a picture of Stevie Yzerman, his last hurrah, walking off the ice, his knees totally and completely shot. Oh, excuse me, my voice is dry. But the thing is with that, Stevie Y, he came here, it was the Dead Wings. It was the Dead Wings. It was like Stevie Y and Reed Larson and John Ogrodnik, and just like trash. And they had a couple decent seasons in the mid '80s, but they lost to like the Oilers. They couldn't get past the Oilers, but that was the Gretzky Oilers, for fuck's sake. No one's getting past them. But you know what? With Stevie, it's been 19 years. It's been 19 years since Steve Yzerman left. There's 19-year-olds out there. They're old enough to drink. They're old enough to, not old enough to drink, but they're old enough to drive. They're old enough to join the army now. They're graduating high school. It's kind of crazy to think, but I think like Gen Z kids, when you're in your early 20s, I mean, when you were like 5, 6 years old, you didn't really have a mind for that kind of stuff. So we got people in their 20s, don't know anything about Steve Yzerman except him as a GM, if they paid attention to Tampa Bay hockey. But yeah, I think this a younger group of Red Wings fans aren't going to look past. They don't know anything about Steve Yzerman's legacy besides what their parents tell them. So when the results aren't on the ice, they're going to be bitching and moaning about Steve Yzerman. They're not like millennials or older people than us who have all these fond memories of Yzerman. The 96 goal in the Western Conference Finals, or the Western Conference semifinals against the St. Louis Blues. Yzerman breaks free from Gretzky. I think he stole the puck from Gretzky, put it behind John Casey. Incredible. That kind of stuff, They don't have a mind for that. That was 30 goddamn years ago. And so
I know
that's a problem for the
Red Wings. Let's watch his last goal.
Okay, sure. Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
4/3/2006. Holy crap, you're right. Once you said that, I had to think. This is his last goal, and it seems like it was last year, and there's too easy. You didn't even see it happen. We got to slide that back.
TV.
Oh, there it is. Look at this.
Yep.
Who's that number 13 on the ice, that young number 13?
If that's not, that's probably Datsuk, yeah. It used to be, who was it?
Mr. Datsuk.
Mr. Datsuk.
God, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those
crazy
things. Yeah, that's the thing. But the thing is,
well, thanks, Dan, for the question.
Yeah. Thanks,
I appreciate
Dan. Sorry,
that.
I hope I answered that to your satisfaction, Dan. I know I'm a rambling doofus, but yeah, I think. But just the long story short,
I mean, I just appreciate someone reaching out, asking a question.
Yeah, absolutely. No, send your questions, absolutely. But my hockey, whatever hockey IQ I have is just like, so to answer your questions, Dan, I don't think we can blame this on Mike Babcock any longer. And to answer your other question, Yzerman does not have, younger Red Wings fans will not cut Yzerman the slack. Older Red Wings fans do. It's just the way it is. And the same thing with like Pistons fans. Remember like Joe Dumars? I don't have many memories of Joe Dumars as a player. I remember watching him a few times back in the 90s, but as a GM, he brought a championship here.
He did.
Pistons fans around that time, people like me, they don't remember Dumars as a player. They remember him as a GM. And some people might have been hesitant.
You're right. I kind of remember him as a player first and then a GM, but you're right. Most of them just remember him as the guy that put the Pistons going to work 04 team together. You're right.
Yeah.
He was the
he did. And then he let it go completely to shit. And that's what people remember about him.
And that wasn't really his fault, though, because the ownership was basically dying off, and they told him, hey, Bill Davidson's dying, and we're not going to do a damn thing, and we're selling the team, so here's $20 and some bubble gum. Like, I'll take it as that. I'm not going to give him... I'm not saying anybody could have came in at that time. They were getting rid of the Palace. They were selling the fucking team.
Some of the moves they made back then.
And now they're...
Oh.
Oh my god!
I just
dude.
think about Ben Gordon.
You know what? And Dan
Charlie
actually had a
Villanueva.
good suggestion, a segment for our show where we let people come in and like, basically play dynasty mode with coaches and make, what they would have done. And that's exactly what was happening in that era of the Pistons. They were literally having a fan come in and go, "Hey, let's get Charlie Villanueva, let's get Ben Gordon." Like it was just some stupid fan's terrible dream that got put together.
Yeah. Ben Gordon got paid because he had like one hot playoff series. They gave him like a max contract. It was obscene, man.
What else is new? Josh Giddey just got $100 million from the Bulls. And I know he's a decent ball player, but like, dude, the some of these contracts are so watered down because of the players they give them to, just because it's like, well, we got to give it to somebody.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you don't. But
you gotta be smart.
It is what it is. Right? But like, look at that. The Bulls gave Josh Giddey $100 million.
Yeah,
and
it's
he
crazy.
got traded over there from the Thunder. And they wanted nothing to do with him, and then they win a championship. And then the Bulls pay him $100 million. Now, the Bulls have been a terrible team since Michael Jordan left, and they haven't been able to give anybody the right money at the right time.
No.
And I guarantee you this Josh Giddey contract is going to look stupid in about 20 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when's the last time the Bulls were really relevant? I mean, maybe when they drafted Derrick Rose, and maybe they were like, oh, maybe this guy's the next big thing.
Because he was from Chicago. Because he was from Chicago, and you had some hope for him. But yeah, the Bulls haven't been truly relevant as a contender since the Michael Jordan era. And dude, that's why when you want to talk about someone being the GOAT, the team, the entire franchise was irrelevant before. Then he showed up. They are literally relevant till no end, and then he leaves and they're dog shit.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, God, a guy like Michael Jordan. I'm not gonna lie to you, Mark. I'm not a big basketball guy, to be honest with you. I mean, I follow it a little bit, somewhat. Personally, I think the Pistons might be the only game in town this year, but you didn't hear that from me. But yeah, I should follow it a little more closely. But the Pistons, looking what the team they got around them, looking at where Ausar Thompson's ranked, looking at Cade Cunningham. Looking at some of the free agency moves they made, they probably overpaid LeVert and Robinson, but look at what JB Bickerstaff could put together. Really, it was really a nice story, and I think the Pistons can play some relevant basketball. And I think we got to get.
I think that's a team that you're going to start watching again, Tom, because you're going to start liking the people. You're going to start liking the players. You're going to start liking Bickerstaff. Just like the people buy into Dan Campbell and the all grit thing. There's so many people that have been now sucked into being a football fan because they love the Lions. And I feel like you're going to fall in love with the Pistons in that same sense real quick.
Yeah.
I know, dude. I've been waiting to fall in love with Cade and Jaden Ivey.
Yeah.
So bad. When they drafted Jaden Ivey, I jumped out, was like,
jumping up and down. Yeah, that was exciting.
Pumped, but
that was the only good. Those were the only good moves that Troy Weaver made.
Yeah.
But
the first one was a no-brainer. Obviously,
obviously
was one you could have screwed up. You could.
People said they wanted Jalen Green, and didn't the guy have like a 8-point per game like average or something? It was just like he stinks. But that's the thing. I mean, hopefully Pistons can be fun now, and there'll be another team worth covering, worth talking about, with lots of good storylines coming out there. Because personally, to me, I watched I watched a little bit of the basketball playoffs, the NBA playoffs.
Well, I mean, you're kind of covering the Tigers heavy right now.
Yeah, it's a Tigers. They're playing the.
What do you think about the Tigers?
I think that they're going to win the division. I think everything else that happens is just kind of gravy. I'm just accepting the fact. They're probably going to go 500. They're basically a 500 team since the break. I think they're probably going to finish out the
I agree.
Finish out the season, probably maybe a game or two under 500, but they'll still be good enough to get about 8, probably low 90s wins, probably 92, 93 wins, and win the division and get that first, skip right to the ALDS. Who they're going to be playing is anybody's guess, but. We'll see. We'll see going on. I don't feel bad about the Tigers, but I am getting nervous because Scooble's Scooble's last year is next year, and I don't know how they're going to handle that situation because Scooble is such a difference maker, just as much as JV. And I never thought I'd say that about a Tigers pitcher ever again after JV left. Scooble's like a next level guy, but we're going to have some more guys.
So then you want him locked up? right now?
I absolutely do. I'm willing to pay the fucking guy. I know maybe that's not Scott Harris's MO. I'm not think he's going to get any kind of big contract because Scooble's going to demand like $40 million a year. I just don't see Scott Harris. That just doesn't seem to be his MO. And I think he's not. We're just like building through the draft. Bring it. I mean, look at this roster. I mean, everybody on this team is just, somebody that came up in the Tigers system. It's a total farm team. It's a total farm system. One of the best farm systems in the league, if not the best system. Look at the Whitecaps record. It's insane. But one of those things, I think they're probably going to limp a little bit into the playoffs. I think Tarek Scooble's really your only reliable starter out of your rotation because, they moved Paddock to the bullpen. They're bringing in Cater Montero back, which I'm kind of surprised they didn't do earlier. Charlie Morin's hit or miss. Jack Flaherty, he does good against like playoff caliber pitching, but a lot of times against these sub 500 teams, he just falls right off a cliff. Casey Mize has been inconsistent. I think in his last like 7-8 starts, he's had like a 6 ERA, but it's just one of those things. It's just one of those things. I got some good feelings. I think the Tigers could do a little damage in the postseason, but I'm really not holding my breath. Still, that said, I'm very happy with the situation the Tigers are in. I love this staff. I love the front office. I love the farm system. Our division is absolute dog shit. We're probably going to own the division for the next 5 years, like we did in the early 20s. I'm not worried as a Tigers fan. If they don't get the job done this season, we have so much more time. The Tigers are just starting to get relevant again. We're going to have we could have a dominant Tigers team for the better part. I don't want to say how long, but for the next 4 or 5 seasons, Tigers are going to be right up there, and they're going to be super competitive. We still got AJ Hinch locked up. I'm not worried about the Tigers at all. Whatever happens this season, it's all gravy, man. It's all gravy. And I know Tigers fans are going to be hyped about it. I'm hyped about it. I remember the 2003 season. I remember all the shitty seasons, as a Tigers fan. Maybe I'm a little of a bandwagoner, but still, I've watched this team for 30 days.
No, you're not a bandwagoner, dude. You're giving all great perspectives and
yeah.
Not a bandwagoner. Nope, dude. You're just a loyal fan, and the rest of these idiots are bandwagoners.
Yeah, I live in.
But hey, so listen, I'm gonna wrap this up.
Okay.
And we're gonna summarize this because this is a big episode, dude. This is week 2. We have expanded our coverage now into all the teams. So we've got the Bears. We're gonna smack the Bears. We already understand that. You gave us the breakdown and the keys to success. I agree with you. I agree with you on the Tigers. I think they're a pretty below average team right now. It's a 500 team. They're playing 500 baseball. Mm-hmm. We're going to squeak into the playoffs, like you said, based on the beginning of the season's record. I love the Red Wings questions. I love the Red Wings content. I'm really excited for that season. And then basketball, it's going to get strange. I think we're going to have to bring on some people too. I might have to have some former basketball players. Like I'm trying to think of these people that I've talked to or kind of mentioned coming on the podcast, and I think this season, this is the time to start bringing these people on. So, let's look for that. And I want everybody to go check out your page too, Hermdo.
Absolutely.
You've gotten us subscribers. I'm giving you. I went live before the Packers game. I'm going to be going live before the Bears game, and I'm going to be going live after the Bears game. So I want you guys to join me an hour before kickoff. Hop in there on Twitch, on YouTube, and I did it on Facebook too, but it was fun. The energy was low after the Packers game, but the energy was low in general week 1. I didn't think a lot of people were ready for the season. So let's look for that. But yeah, dude, that's my closing comments. What you got?
I'm just looking forward. I'm looking forward to seeing the Lions put the season back together. I'm looking forward to seeing them prove the doubters wrong, which they will do. That's a Hermdo guarantee.
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to seeing the Tigers finishing up. Yes. I'm looking forward to seeing the Tigers finish out the season. I think they might be able to do a little damage late. I think if the offense holds up and we can, just keep grinding away, we should be able to put together an okay postseason. I'm not predicting World Series, of course, but as far as the Pistons and the Red Wings go, it's going to be a fun October. I think there's going to be a lot of good storylines to watch. Michigan, but we'll see how those guys do. They got a cake schedule coming up. The Spartans,
didn't even cover that.
Fuck the Spartans. I don't give a fuck about the fucking Spartans. No, I'm just joking around.
Nobody ever does.
Irrelevant. Yeah, so I think we got some good sports coming up. I think we're going to have some fun. I think there's a lot of good stuff to talk about. A lot of positive stories have been coming out of Detroit now. I think we're really in the beginning stages of a new era of Detroit sports, and I think things will start turning around, and we might be able to, talk about championships for the first time in a long time. So that's basically what I got
like
to
it.
say. Yep.
All right.
Absolutely.
Well, with that being said, you can do your I'll see you later.
I'll talk to you guys later. Go Tigers, Wings, Pistons, and Lions.
I thought you said I was all right, Spider.
No, you ain't all right, Spider. You got a lot of fucking problems.
No, I thought you said you were all right.